welcome back to another rendition, another episode of Melanated News You Can Use. Welcome. Let's get started. Good morning from Los Angeles. Happy Juneteenth, all. So we're gonna get into the news. Welcome, come on in. We have a lot to discuss. Come on in. You're welcome. And thank you for joining. Let's get into it. I want to get into it because Donald Trump was arrested. And then right when I was doing yesterday's broadcast, some news was breaking and I was like, I missed a really big story, but I'm on it. So welcome. Thank you. I'm going to make sure we're all good here, and I want to invite my friends in. So welcome to another EBMG Melanated News You Can Use, where I just recap my favorite stories that have something to do with me and my people. So I want to keep the broadcast going. Welcome. Thank you. I want to invite some friends in, and I appreciate you all. So I'm going to get started with my story, Reparations, give you an update because it's becoming more localized. And thanks to that, Los Angeles has a Reparation Advisory Commission, and it's separate from the state. Hopefully they're all working together, but it's separate from the state California Reparations Task Force. I have updates on both, and then hopefully we can get into this reparations calculator and play with that a little bit. So make sure you comment. Welcome. Come on in. So comment, like, share, and turn on notifications so when I go live, I can interact with you all and get some answers for you. And then Mayor Karen Bass is also one of my top stories. She is solving homelessness, fighting homelessness, and she's bringing in the dollars, the money. Her city budget approved. Increased the budget by 11% to include $1.3 billion for homelessness, directly for homelessness, and helping those on the street get inside right now. She issued a state of emergency. It is an emergency. So I want to get this, my first story going. Welcome. Thank you. I want to invite some friends in the meantime. Thank you. All right. I have an update, but I'm going to start with my coverage of the Reparations Task Force and hopefully help you all understand what's happening, because remember, we are the United States. We are united, not divided. So let's get into it.
This is Lady Lila Brown from LB Media Group's Melanated News You Can Use. I'm at the California African American Museum for the first in-person Los Angeles Reparations Advisory Commission community meeting. Commissioners presented the city's plans to conduct an in-depth study of harms experienced by Black Angelenos. Community members had a chance to respond with questions and public comment, as well as to meet the commissioners. The Reparations Advisory Commission is a blue ribbon task force composed of leading local voices in activism, academia, law, and racial justice, and is chaired by Michael A. Lawson, President and CEO of the Los Angeles Urban League and former ambassador in the Obama administration. Alongside Lawson, the panel also included committee members Kanza Jones Muhammad, Mark Wilson, Manuela Casey, Katrina Vanderwood, Cheryl Harris, and Virgil Roberts for this community meeting. The meeting also welcomed attorney Camila Moore as a guest who listened in during the public commentary. She is the chairwoman of the state's California Reparation Task Force, formed by Governor Gavin Newsom, and now Secretary of State Dr. Shirley Weber, who authored AB 3121 Task Force to study and develop proposals for reparations for African Americans. Established in 2021 through mayoral executive action, the Los Angeles Reparations Advisory Commission focuses on the city of Los Angeles's geographic boundaries, the jurisdiction since the 1925 charter. This is for the city's effort. It is independent of the state of California's reparations efforts, but the commission seeks to learn and adopt the task force best practices. Los Angeles is the largest city in the nation that has taken on this task, and as you know the saying, as goes California, so goes the nation. The commission has 5 objectives. First, develop a reparations program for a group of Black Angelenos. Next, Seek opportunities for public and private funding. Identify academic and fund development partners to assist in development and implementation of the program. Maintain an active relationship with CBOs and advocacy organizations, as well as key stakeholders. And finally, engage relevant experts to inform the development of the program. While reparations, of course, addresses slavery, other injury and harms done include governmental sanctioned race-based violence, impacts of fugitive slave laws, land and asset seizures, redlining, restrictive covenants, and housing segregation, housing and employment discrimination, forced displacement, environmental and health outcomes, school segregation, mass incarceration, law enforcement surveillance, COINTELPRO, and other police terrorism. The Commission will host future events to continue the conversation with the community leading up to 2024. Programmatic and fiscal recommendations will be sent to the City Council and Mayor Karen Bass for the 2025 budget. You can follow up on my next steps on this long and overdue process and everything that's going on with the committee at my website, ellabmediagroup.com. We'll have more information, and as reparations continues to develop throughout the state of California and now the city of Los Angeles and other pilot programs around the country, you'll be sure that you can get all that information with me. So thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take care and good luck.
Welcome. So we want to make sure everyone gets all the news and information. And so I have a different report, but I did want to show you how a lot of the other media outlets are covering this, because you might hear something different for your local news. So, so far they're saying it's been approved. I want to share some stories with you, help make this real, because we're all in this together, okay? Great, welcome, hi, hello. Thank you for tuning in. We're gonna keep the stories going. Let's do this. All right, next story. It seems like it's approved. Everything's moving great.
This morning, California's Reparations Task Force, the first of its kind in the nation, has voted to send recommendations for reparations to state lawmakers, saying it hopes to right the wrongs of slavery, as well as land, housing, and health discrimination.
My great-grandfather was a sharecropper who had 17 children and worked from sunup to sundown and died with absolutely nothing.
The task force is recommending payments of up to $1.2 million for any African American over 70 that can trace their ancestry to enslaved people, compensating them for what it describes as harm to their health, mass incarceration, over-policing, and housing discrimination.
Land was stolen from many, as in my husband's case. My husband has the deeds to these properties. That state. This land belongs to my descendants forever and ever.
Several descendants told their stories in a public forum. Task Force member Jovan Scott Lewis insists reparations are not payouts.
We are returning monies taken, returning monies stolen, returning, right, the monies that have been lost based upon the kinds of dispossession and disenfranchisement.
But the task force's work faces two major hurdles. First, no mention of how to pay for the estimated $800 billion price tag, which is more than twice California's annual budget. And the recommendations are non-binding, meaning state lawmakers still have to approve the idea. An uphill battle. The task force will issue a final report to state lawmakers this summer. An interim report also called for a public apology from the state to African American descendants of slaves and others who were discriminated against and disenfranchised.
Great. So, like I said, I'm following this story myself. I'm following it very closely, and I might want to add my identity politics, if I may. Great. Are you still here with me? Welcome. Thank you. I appreciate your comments. Come on. Let it be known. We need commentary. Y'all, hey, it's going on the record. Things you say on the internet. She said, we need reparations in Ohio. I agree with that. All right. I'm with it. I agree. So, I want to keep this going. You know, guys, I'm on the case. Y'all know the players, everybody that's involved with this. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please share this video. We need more awareness. We are not joshing you. We're not sunning you. Nobody's playing around. This is real. And I want you to all be prepared. You will be surprised how long it takes for some of y'all to get y'all's family files. Nobody wants to tell you some of these family members' names. I've been there. We are in this together. All right? And we're using our might and our strength in the great state of Reparations, California. It's the Reparations Gold Rush. Reparations should be the only topic of conversation, but we're going to get to it. You know I'm investigating. I've had some upgrades. We had to do some updates. And so hopefully we're running smoothly here. I'm going to make sure if you guys just be patient with me as we are using all of our available resources to bring you the news independently and unfiltered. And I don't know. We'll see. Right when I was doing yesterday's broadcast, we had some breaking news, so I thought I'd come back around. So you guys here with me? Please comment. Give me likes. Let your people know. And so I got a message, all right? Y'all want to hear my message? What we got? Okay. The person that's working on it, the people that are appointed to be over governing this. Are y'all ready?
My good friend, Malia Cohen, my other friend here is here too. But Malia Cohen, for thinking of this. This is a very historic moment. It is. And we should pay close attention to this moment. Those of you in the back here, we say the word moment. Moment. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Because what you see in bringing together are an awful lot of individuals, black women, who work very hard in this state. And we're very fortunate to have them because not only are they doing an excellent job for the state, for everyone, they're doing an amazing job for us. And keep in mind, black people are like 6-7% of the state. Yet we have 3 constitutional officers out of 8. That means that most of us are working hard to represent everybody. We're working hard to make sure you know we're here. And we're unafraid to have a voice that is different. I want to thank you so very much for coming. We're going to test California very soon. Because reparations is coming to California. Reparations is coming to California. And it will test what we mean by the diversity of California. We're going to test what it means. Because it is powerful, it has the potential to change California, and we're asking not only for all African Americans to pay attention, but all of our friends to pay attention. Because reparations for African Americans is 400 years overdue. 400 years overdue. And we are unapologetic of demanding what we deserve to build our community. And these women have been working hard to make sure that we have a voice. And we will continue to have a voice. So I want to thank Malia for bringing us together. The end of June, the reparations bill will be in the Capitol. I invite you to join us. At the end of the month, we'll be in the Secretary of State's auditorium, where we're going to accept the reparations recommendations, and then we're going to move forward to implementation. I know you'll be there, either on the phone or in person, but I want you to tell everybody you know that reparations has come to California. Thank you so very much.
We not pussyfooting right here. That was our Secretary of State. Okay. I just wanted to get that going, make sure we're still rolling smoothly here. And I was answering your question, but it appeared on my YouTube. So hopefully my answers will come through the way I want them to. So I'm going to get back to and great question. Thank you so much. And I'm going to put up my, great, we're back here. And we're back. Yay, thank you for your questions. Because, you know, some people might have the same question. Somebody asking about Ohio. Listen up. Great. Now, I wanna make sure we do this in order. So someone says, how do we even make it a topic here? And I answered it. Great, thank you for the question. How do we even begin to make it a topic here? All right, so let me know we're good. When you give me thumbs up, that lets me know we're rolling, you're ready to receive these answers. Now, first and foremost, you need to check with your representative in the House. Okay? Answer. Somebody already voted yes or no to this. It got to the House of Representatives in the United States Congress. So check with your local district representative. Did they vote yes or no? Start talking to that person. Start making a conversation. You're going to realize this is all happening federally, state, and locally at the same time. That's why I'm telling you all now. Get your house in order. Okay? Start talking to your elders. What do they know? Because y'all's family records might be in Tennessee, Georgia somewhere, because your family done came from Mississippi to Vermont and Ohio. Maybe your family been there your whole life. You come to find out your records are going to stop at a certain point because now you got to go to the Native American records. Yes, your family's record. And yes, you, Ohio. Any more questions? Welcome. Hi to our people. Come on in. I just got like 60 family members in the Cherokee Nation. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. And a good morning to you all. I had an opportunity to interview the mayor of Los Angeles exclusively. So I want to make sure that I let you all know what's going on with reparations. A lot of people have the same questions as you all. So I'm going to get into that. So I want to make sure that you are informed so you can start working on it now. Do not be skeptical. You looking for it, and you could be the one to get it started locally. Sister, you could be the one. Okay, you could be the one. I'll continue to answer your questions. Grand Rising. We are live. I hope we're still smooth running here. Smooth over here. Somebody said Native American and Black from, you already know. You got to go check some of these Native American records. You're going to find out you got street addresses, postal offices. Yes, come on. You go, okay, you get the Haitian. You might have to pause there. We not ready for the CARICOM, Caribbean yet. Okay, so for now, we just going to focus on mainland, United States, okay? Those island nations in the Caribbean, they are doing their own deal and suing Europe directly. This is going to go so far back. They've been offending us for a very long time. And yes, your ancestors on record. So anybody who's on record is your ancestors. Don't let them tell y'all they don't have any records on y'all. Okay? You know they've been keeping track with your ancestors. Stop playing. They want to know everywhere about your ancestry. We got Secret Service files. We done pulled up from the 1610s. Okay? 1793s. They've been watching us for, you didn't even know why they keeping tabs and filing it. Now you have access to these records. Woo, let's not get started because we will be talking about Donald Trump and his records he's been withholding and indictments. Okay, so ask your questions. All questions are welcome. You might be asking a question on behalf of somebody else. So we're gonna start at the very beginner basic level because we're gonna zoom, and I need y'all all to be up to speed. Here are some people that are going through the same things you're going through. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining the broadcast. Let's check in with some of our other brothers and sisters. All right, across the diaspora. Great. Great.
62-year-old Denise Green has lived in Southern California her entire life.
This is my grandmother right here.
She knows her ancestors came from Mississippi, but much of her family history was unknown. That is until her niece started doing research.
Here's the 1880 census.
Adrienne Aviodan is a professional genealogist in Tampa, Florida. But even she spent 2 decades and thousands of dollars before uncovering the name Philip Branch.
So Philip Branch is my 4th great grandfather, and he was an enslaved person.
What was your reaction when Adrienne told you that your family is direct descendants of an enslaved person named Philip Branch?
I thought that was awesome. It was just a little overwhelming.
The vital lineage information.
Pause. Okay. A lot of the Indian rolls. All right. Military records. All right. Look, the U.S. colored troops. Y'all people won't even call black. Y'all over there looking for black records. You over there looking for black records, your ancestors are called colored and Indian red. Redskins, and all kind of other racial codes. So some of your ancestors was called Negro. They was interacting with the Spaniard, conquistadors. All right, some Negroes, all right? We're going to keep it going. Keep asking your questions.
Could be valuable in California as it debates what is owed to descendants of the enslaved. Camila Moore is chair of the California Reparations Task Force, the first in the nation's statewide effort to address systemic racism against African Americans caused by the enduring legacy of slavery.
Could it be something as simple as you take a cheek swab, you submit your DNA, and they go, oh, you're a descendant of an enslaved person, here's your check?
I mean, it could be. Again, this is all still a work in progress.
The task force wants eligibility to be lineage-based versus race-based. That has sparked debate.
The paper trail is not always proven to be correct.
For people who have to prove their lineage, it can be difficult, costly, and time-consuming, especially since many slaves weren't identified by name but property codes up until the 1870 census.
People think that, oh, I'm going to sit down and do my family research this weekend and get my application for reparations ready. That's not going to happen.
Over the weekend, the task force approved recommendations for reparations that could be worth up to $1.2 million for eligible applicants. Citywide reparations efforts are also underway in Boston, St. Louis, and San Francisco. Some may not support the idea because it could cost taxpayer dollars. Denise doesn't know if she'll ever get reparations, but she supports the Golden State's effort.
I'm excited for people who, will need it and can use it, but the sad part is we're getting it at the expense of what our ancestors went through.
Dana Griffin, NBC News, Los Angeles.
This is Los Angeles. Okay, great. So see how they're so skeptical? Oh my gosh. That woman just started doing her records. Talking about she not gonna get your reparation application ready. If we said that's what it is, that's what it's gonna be. Where'd she get this idea of a reparation application? It's gonna be exactly that. It's gonna be an online form, and you're gonna see if you're pre-qualified. There's so many ways to get this done. What is wrong with these people? Didn't y'all just hear the Secretary of State appointed by the governor? They gotta make it so dramatic. Ooh, we don't know if they're gonna get this. The governor hasn't said. The governor appointed the reparations task force. One more, and he apologized for Bruce's Beach. We don't know. They just want you guys to tune in. This is a soap opera. It's like it's never ending. On next week's episode of Will the Negroes Get Do you understand what's happening now? Share the video. We're getting this done. And actually, I want to make sure that you guys just kind of check out this opportunity I had where I was able to interview the mayor, and I really want to make sure that I show you all that. That interview was a one-on-one exclusive sit-down, so I want to make sure, you guys brace yourselves. I want to make sure everything's running smoothly, so we're going to get right into it. If you have any questions, any more questions, someone said this is exciting. I agree. So, yes, that's exactly what it is. Somebody said it's not going to be. Yes, that's it. Why do people do that? Ain't no money in it. Yes, exactly it is. Somebody said, okay, I'm going to get some more to your question before we get to you're trying to dig into your Ohio records. But you're having a hard time. Well, what part what is hard for you? What's the hard part for you? So, y'all want to play with okay, so we're gonna play with the reparation calculator. We're gonna get this because I asked the mayor of Los Angeles. Now it's becoming hyper local. I want you guys to follow along. Your civil rights department. We just got a civil rights department, okay? So your civil rights department would be working on this as well, okay? Are y'all following? So it's a subset of a larger department. This is the Reparations Advisory Commission. That's the city. On the state, it's the Reparations Task Force. And then we'll start talking about federal programs. So make sure you vote. Vote for the people that are agreeing with this. Like, somebody's out there telling y'all to vote for people that are like, hell no to reparations. Who is out there telling y'all to vote against yourselves? The no-taps? They ain't never done nothing for us. And here we are trying to get something that, and they're saying no. We literally have reparations on the table. They ain't never tried to do nothing. They ain't never done nothing for black. Reparations is on the table. What are you talking about? Y'all, who told you your vote didn't matter? Too many immigrants are telling you your U.S., African American, colored, Native American, indigenous, Negro vote doesn't matter. Your vote matters. All right? They were about to recall this governor that appointed the Reparations Task Force, and then the black community was like, no, we're not recalling him. Come on back. And then the next week he was at Bruce's Beach apologizing on behalf of the state of California. We need that apology. You're going to need that apology in the lawsuit. That's an admission of guilt. I'm sorry I did this. And it ain't just slavery. It was a free state. I know. The slave state should be worried. You're scared. You're shaking and you're shivering me timbers. You're shaking in your little Timberland boots. That one's a dig at Brian Kemp, the timber plantations. I mean, come on. It's like, you think we're asking? We are in positions of power. So I'm going to get into my one-on-one exclusive. So many things are going on. So I want to make sure that we're all good here. Because the Reparations Advisory Commission did host its, we're going to keep we might have to get into this reparation calculator. So make sure y'all stay there. We're going to check the years. All right. We're going to have fun and toggle around with the reparations calculator. Okay. So we're going to move right along because Los Angeles has a Reparation Advisory Commission. What does this mean on the local level? We did ask the mayor, so I'm going to get into that, but make sure, yeah, we're not going to be able to do all that. Like these hours, long meetings, they're all on the internet if y'all want to sit. And then the cool thing about politics is that you can copy and paste. You get to copy and paste and copy for your area. Did you know that's a thing? Did you know that that's a thing? So we're going to, I have the full one-on-one exclusive interview coming right up. I appreciate you all. Then we're going to keep the stories going, but I really wanted to come here to bring you all this amazing opportunity. One-on-one with the mayor. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we're going to keep it going.
Lady Lila Brown, and I have the honor and privilege to sit down for an exclusive one-on-one interview with historic and legendary Mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass. We had an opportunity to discuss a wide range of issues, from housing discrimination, segregation, reparations, and the passing of her unprecedented funding, $1.3 billion for homelessness. Thank you for meeting me today, taking some time out of your schedule, and I want to say congratulations. Thank you. On passing historic city budget and just really bringing more attention to the humanitarian crisis and homelessness in the city. So I want to know what's next on your agenda for preventing homelessness, with the moratorium on for rental protections. How do you make sure the next disadvantaged group doesn't fall into homelessness?
Well, I'm very concerned about that, and so we are addressing that in two ways. First of all, the City Council passed tenant protection, but I'm very worried that tenants won't know about it. And so we had contracted with an outside firm to essentially get the information out there to the public using social media, print, radio, TV, whatever, to communicate to Angelinos that there are protections. Also, the Los Angeles Mayor's Fund, which is an independent nonprofit that I inherited from Mayor Garcetti, we are focusing on expanding the outreach on a grassroots level. So the firms will do it in a more traditional way. The grassroots organizations will do it in an entirely different way, where they're reaching out directly to people. The other thing that they're doing in the Mayor's Fund is they're recruiting pro bono attorneys. And so that, I believe, is critically important, because if we're not careful, for every person that we're getting off the streets and inside safe, and other ways that we're getting people off the streets, we could have 4 or 5 more people falling into homelessness.
So, well, how do you get the landlords, property owners, property managers to accept some of the programs that you're setting up, such as the Section 8 vouchers?
Well, that's a different issue. That's a different issue. What we were doing in terms of making sure that renters knew they had some protections, but in terms of communicating with landowners, that's a program that we're going to begin in the next month or so, and that is an outreach campaign to Angelenos who own apartments around the country to please just accept 1 or 2 vouchers, and that we will work with the landlords so that we send them a proper tenant, and we also don't abandon that tenant once they have moved into the housing. And so we're hoping that this spirit of collective responsibility that all Angelenos need to step up will be evident by additional landowners being willing to accept vouchers.
So, so when you were newly elected, you talked about a lot of the barriers, the red tape, you called it self-inflicted.
Yes.
For some that may feel more targeted attacks, because it was redlining, gentrification, just housing discrimination and segregation.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't that. I didn't mean that at all.
Oh, okay, but you know.
No. What I mean is that, for example, to place people into housing, the federal government required Los Angeles and every other city to come up with a system to determine who gets housed. Unfortunately, the system that we came up with is so onerous that a lot of people who should be housed are not housed, which is why you can see housing being built in South LA and people from literally outside of Los Angeles City, maybe in some of the surrounding cities in the county, actually getting benefit of the housing.
So should there be some legal remedy for housing segregation and housing discrimination?
Well, I think, absolutely, if that is taking place. What I'm describing, though, I think is something different. To me, housing discrimination is I'm attempting to rent an apartment that's widely advertised as being vacant, but then when I show up, all of a sudden it's filled, and if a white individual shows up, then the unit is still vacant. That's a different type of thing than what I'm describing. I'm describing bureaucratic hurdles that were unnecessary. That's what was self-inflicted. So since we set up the bureaucracy, we have the power to set that bureaucracy aside, and we have done that.
Thanks for clearing that up, because you said I just wanted to get more clarification on that. But President Biden has noted that housing discrimination has created barriers to the racial wealth gap.
Absolutely.
So how do you get the larger Los Angeles business community to get involved with that? Because it seems like the root cause of this is some economic exclusion. So how do we bring all that together?
Well, those things have to be documented, and people need to pursue legal remedies, and you have the Legal Aid Foundation and other legal services that can do that. And we have to fight against that type of discrimination, just like employment discrimination.
Okay, great. So, with Hollywood, there's been issues with some of the talent casting, racial discrimination, also below the line, behind the scenes. How do you get Hollywood on board with your agenda and making LA more equitable?
Well, really and truly, the way I have been working with Hollywood is to make sure that there's diversity in the below the line, the crafts, the grips, the painters, the mold, the people that make molds, all of that there be a diversity in terms of who gets hired. And then also when we do things like offer tax credits, that we expect diversity there in terms of the companies that are issued the credits.
Right. And Los Angeles has a Reparations Advisory Commission now. How will your office be working with that department?
Well, that's a very good question. Capri Maddox is the general manager over that department, and it's something that I want to get involved in and find out exactly where they are with the process, just like the State Commission. So I haven't had the opportunity to review those reports, but I certainly plan to.
Great. I just want to switch gears to the Olympics because a lot of planning is going on, and we usually don't hear about problems that stem from bribery, corruption until after the games. And with it being planned right now, how do you make sure that small businesses will be included with the planning and rendering services?
Thank you. I really appreciate that question. So our Deputy Mayor for Business and Economic Development, Rachel Freeman, is leading the way in that effort. And the two of us met with Casey Wasserman, who's in charge of organizing LA 28, which is the local Olympic committee. And we asked him if he would do a presentation right now for a small and minority-owned business. And the reason is because as I've talked to people in the community, they actually believe that the decisions have already been made and they're already excluded. And that's just not the case. No decisions have been made. And I'm referring to small business contractors. The procurement process has not gotten underway. And so we want people to know ahead of time what specifically the games will be looking for so they can think about it and get their house in order now.
All right, during the height of the pandemic, there were other cities that were enticing Angelenos to move their businesses and just, leave the state altogether. How do you convince small business owners, entrepreneurs to keep their business in Los Angeles?
Well, I think that the number one way to do that is to house the people that are unhoused, which is a quality of life issue. It's an issue that is very troubling to local businesses because sometimes encampments are nearby or in front of their business, and for people to feel safe, and for small businesses to understand that the city doesn't just support them and embrace them, the city wants to help them flourish. And so through our deputy mayor, we've definitely been sounding that alarm to all of the various business organizations.
And I just love the coalition that is happening with Dr. Shirley Weber and State Controller Malia Cohen. It seems like the whole government approach is playing out nicely. And then you had the Ambassador Rice and Secretary Fudge involved as well. Can you talk a little bit more about that? How everyone's working together?
I think that one, the work I've done over the last 4 decades has always involved bringing people together, regardless of ideology, geography, race, gender, whatever, and focus on a specific problem. And the problem I'm referring to, of course, is the problem of 47,000 Angelenos being unhoused. But what I wanted to bring to the table, and I said this during the campaign, is because I served in the State House and on the federal side, that I could leverage those relationships. In the next couple of days, for example, the Secretary of Health and Human Services will be coming, Javier Becerra, and that's to talk about health care and especially substance abuse and mental health treatment for people who are unhoused. So building on relationships that I've built over many years and bringing those relationships to the table to help us with our most pressing problems is something that I'm focusing on a great deal. And I've always had strong relationships at the city and the county level, even though I've never served in local office.
And then, you've shown early support for Representative Barbara Lee. What should voters know about her? Why should we choose her? Because, there's a lot of, there's an Angeleno, there's Adam Schiff, Representative Schiff, or Pete Porter. Why should we go with
I would say, first of all, the 3 candidates that are running for senator are all incredibly talented and committed legislators, and I could speak for each of them. Barbara Lee, however, is one of my closest friends. She's been a mentor and advisor to me for many, many years. I first started working with her almost 30 years ago when she was in the state legislature. She helped us with problems that we were dealing with in South LA. And since I served in Congress, she has been there for me every step of the way. And one of the things that people should know about her is that she's one of the hardest working people on the Hill and has had tremendous accomplishments in her years since being there. She's internationally known for a number of reasons, one of which was she was on the forefront of the fight against AIDS. She was on the forefront of holding the Bush administration accountable and supplying AIDS medications on the continent of Africa. So literally, hundreds of thousands of people's lives were saved because of her advocacy. That's just a few of the reasons. But then, after 240 years in our country, 40 plus years in our country, the fact that there is no African American woman serving in the U.S. Senate I think is quite a shame.
Thank you so much for answering my questions and clearing some things up. This has been another special edition of Melanated News You Can Use. Thank you so much for tuning in for more extensive coverage on Mayor.
Great. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll probably get into more of your questions, providing answers, and then talk a little bit more about Barbara Lee, the importance of supporting this sister in the run for Dianne Feinstein, U.S. Representative. Her seat, it's time for her to go. She retired. Thank you for your service. You just a vegetable at this point. Like, come on. Jeez. And she's representing Oakland, our U.S. Representative Barbara Lee, that area. You can check it to her, but stop playing with us. But she does have a good race ahead of her. All right, I want to get some of your, thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. Try to get that going here. I said sisters are getting done. Someone's asking questions about indigeneity and reparations, and somebody in one of the videos said, I don't think that black people should get reparations until the Native Americans get reparations. And then come to find out y'all that too. So just shut up, all right? Saying, I don't think there should be any retribution of any kind until they clearly have whitewashed history so much that they even got people thinking that the colonizer, conquistador Spaniards from the Middle East, got people believing Asiatics are the indigenous on a continent they just discovered 200 years ago. And we talking about civilizations from 9,000 years ago here doing stuff and building empires. So the truth is stranger than fiction. Brace yourselves. We do not fuck around over here. We go out into the world and we get the evidence. I don't have time to be wasting. I don't know whose idea was to lie and distort truth, but you say these things and it does not make sense. The victor gets to rewrite history. Let's break that down. Happy Juneteenth. The victor does not need to write and rewrite and revise and edit the story. The victor is going to want you to know it like a T.I. is, and we're telling you what happened. They had to go and create reenactments. And then you think, oh, that's nothing, but in your brain over time, generations, a millennia of that, just whitewashing, destroying artwork. So yes, you know, we go to museums here, guys. We go see things for itself. We go to the basements of our favorite museums because we have friends that work at everywhere from the Smithsonian to friends that have work in the Smithsonian. We are ready for this. Okay? Are y'all following me here? Are we still good? Great. Now, the Reparations Task Force. I just want to commend myself, okay, because that's how you ask somebody about reparations. Okay? Thank you. You don't go attack it. What you gonna do specifically with black people? Okay. All right. We just started being called black and from Negro. She might as well have asked, what are you gonna do for the Negroes? In a point in history, so now they say, well, we don't say that word anymore. Well, that word that you don't utter anymore, like blackamoor, Negro, Afro, calling people Afros. I just saw a post where they called a girl Afro-Mexican because she had brown skin, but she didn't have no Afro. Afro was referring to the Afro, not African. African-American and Afro-American are not synonymous. Stop playing. But you call the people all these things from colored to color red. Indians. So sorry. It was a huge lie. And we're here to set the record straight. That's why there is no more black media. We've been telling y'all what a TI is. We have black authors, black poets, black playwrights, okay? Black speechwriters, black propagandists, all right? So we are the Americans. We can take this to 1510 if we need to, 1566. I guess the alarms we're just gonna play the alarm. Get them! Get them! Violations. Umpteen violations. One time they was in on the violation. It was state-sponsored terrorism. Get in contact with your local representatives. Ask them, how did you vote on H.R. 40? Maybe they're new. Ask them how they feel about reparations. Start at the city council. If you take care of city council and then the feds are being taken care of in the state and everybody, petition your state assembly representative. Your everybody that represents your areas. You have every right. Go up there and give them a piece of your mind. I was going to show one of them videos. The public, somebody said public commentary, my favorite part. And this whole reparations. Everybody getting their 2 cents off. People got a lot to say. But we're going to roll into some federal news. Trump was indicted. How much longer did y'all think they were going to be able to get away with it? As long as you say they're going to get away with it, they're going to get away with it. You are the Americans. You are the U.S. citizens. Oh, they can get away with it. Well, then you manifested that. And we can't get away with it. Yes, we can. And yes, we shall. And yes, we did. And we're still here. After a global pandemic, you're still here. Hallelujah. Thankful for that. Show some gratitude. Trump going to jail. So I want to play the arrest footage. We're going to listen in here. And, geez. Everything's happening right now. Miami is the first. Miami is the first, one of the first tribes made contact with the Seminole, Miami, Florida. They are running amok in Florida. Y'all know about Rosewood? You don't think you have any claim? You don't think you get any fair compensation and retribution for that? Yes. Reparations, retribution, reinvestment, rejuvenation. All of the above. Especially if you went out there and found some indigenous information about your family. Yes. And what we're saying is now look in a different record book. That's the only thing about you is still a vestige of, you're still an ascendant of the descendant of your ancestors who had descended and gone on to the underworld. They're buried, literally. Damn, did they create a story that your sister's going to your ancestors going to the underworld was a bad thing? Like, Jesus. Okay, anyway, back to other news. Trump indicted and he was arrested. He was under arrest. No, they cannot get away with it. All right, hold down Florida. Get involved politically. Have a political takeover. You are not tearing down the system. We built this system. It's indestructible. We built something that is sustaining. They just took control over what was already built. We're trying to explain that to y'all. I don't know why you think in 1766 we was looking like, I don't know, like 1300s. No. So that's why I love, even if you could call the Tartarians whatever you want, but I'm glad people are at least talking about the Tartarians. Jesus Christ, can we talk about the Etruscans at some point? Jeez.
I mean, give us the latest on the ground view of the security situation. Shimon, what are you seeing?
So, Jake, we're standing on the corner where everyone here, from law enforcement to some of the supporters, have now gathered as they get ready for the former president to drive this way and enter the courthouse. We expect this to happen at any minute. As you can see now, some of the highway patrol, the motorcycles are here. This was not here earlier. And then on the other side, we have the street closed as well. As everyone here at this point is just waiting. I'm trying to look and see if I could see the motorcade. At some point, drive up this block. The SUVs are coming up this block. And Jake, what's going to happen is he's going to make a left here and head right into the courthouse there. You could see in our shot here, there are some officers, Secret Service agents, and U.S. Marshals. That is where we believe he's going to drive down and into that building where he will begin the process of being placed under arrest and then the arraignment. But at any point now, we should see him, Jake, drive by. We can hear the sirens as they are approaching here and about to make this turn here where law enforcement, as you can see behind me, Jake, has shut the street down. And we see some of the law enforcement here now, Jake, driving in. You could see this, and there is here is the motorcade now, Jake.
And Shimon, describe the crowd as you can discern their mood and their actions. From our view, thousands of miles away, it looks like a relatively peaceful crowd.
Yeah, it is it's been peaceful, Jake. You're right, absolutely right. It's a peaceful crowd.
Well, we just saw
and here you
something
can
going
see
on
some
there.
Secret
Let's put the
Service
camera.
agents.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, the police are pushing away somebody who is dressed kind of like as a cartoon prisoner with a sign that says "Lock him up." But he got on the street, I think, was the issue there. And the police came and pushed him aside, although it didn't look like a tremendously violent confrontation. Sorry, Shimon, go ahead.
Yeah, because what's happened here is just people have been able to just stand there, right? We've been talking about the barricades, there not being any of those metal barricades to people, to keep people from running into the street. Well, that's exactly what happened here. People can run freely. All we have really are the officers who are standing around trying to keep people back. But now the former president, Donald Trump, is inside the federal building where he will be placed under arrest, Jake, where he will be taken in, processed, as we've been talking about, the fingerprinting, the other things that they do in the process. And so now we await for his appearance, Jake.
All right, Shimon Prokopez, thank you so much. And as we watch these images, let's chat with my panel here.
And let's not and say we did. And we're going to shoot back over to me. What a beautiful sight to behold. All right. So Trump was under arrest. Another day in America. Let me know what y'all think. Oh, gosh. I want to get over to Juneteenth. I want to talk about, it's Juneteenth started yesterday. It's June 14th, June 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. It's all the Juneteenth, all the teens until the 20th. And then y'all know we be taking 2 or 3 days off of our, well, not when you come back from vacation and you be like, I still need 2 or 3 days off to reacclimate. So Juneteenth, I've always celebrated my family having roots and, oh God, everywhere, Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, all these places. So yes, so we have a lot of information to share. If y'all have any questions, please make sure you put it. Somebody said, great. From the reparations talk, because we are entitled to tribal benefits instead. Yes, you're going to get, yes, that's what they've been trying to keep away from you is your indigenous benefits. Yes, all the Native American concessions. Great. Make sure we're still rolling here. Okay. Yes, thank you for your questions. Okay, we're still rolling. Yes. Somebody said from the reparations talk, yes, you are still entitled. Okay. All right, come on back in. Whoo. Yay, we're still rolling. That happens sometimes. You gotta take a little breaky break. So welcome. We're still here. Yes, we're still up and rolling. Yes. Okay. Okay, I want to make sure I answer the questions. Okay. I know we got a heavy broadcast. Somebody said, oh yeah, it happens. You know, they try to, I'm just getting some of y'all comments on Trump as well and reparations. Yeah, I appreciate y'all. So I know you're really trying to figure out, you know, this Native American, remember, you know, how does this work for those of us who are under the premise we were not slaves but American Indian? I think we discussed. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, great. Are you getting paid for these commercial breaks? Yes, I think YouTube, because we're simulcasting on YouTube right now, and sometimes they just automatically break it up. So I think so. At least, or they put a break in it. We want the broadcast to go smoothly, so yes, we will be. So I do appreciate y'all tuning in live but people watch later, and yeah, I got everything ready to go. Thank you for asking, and thank you for your concern. So I still got my videos going up. We just wanted to show Trump. I just wanted to show Trump being arrested. Because I wanted to get into the White House, and we're talking about the former White House. So we have some updates from Mayor Bass, because we have some, you know, we got to come back to LA. A lot's going on. We have a disgraced city council member that's like homies with the mayor after another city council brother was indicted on federal charges. So that was happening yesterday as I was wrapping up the broadcast. Then I just, you know, want to do some what's up to our sister that's going for the U.S. Senate. There's no black woman. Okay. All right. So sometimes I have to switch over because this this Wi-Fi is just so heavy. This broadcast, we running like fucking channel 1 over here. So yeah, so I just need to switch over. So sorry for any interruptions. Sorry about that. We're gonna get back to it. So, right, like the news is happening so fast. So I wanted to point out with our Madam Mayor Karen Bass and what she's doing for homeless. We have an update. So we're gonna get into the update because the numbers were not accurate in how many people she's actually been able to help. Okay. So she's gonna tell you the numbers. Our mayor did contract COVID. So unfortunately, she had to go virtual, but she was still working. I cannot believe it. And I'm like, coming to this press briefing, she's working still. And now she's at City Hall, and she was like, she is not letting this go. Y'all not gonna know. No. I was like, how's she still working? So I was like, we have a meeting with the mayor for the working media, the members of the press. And I was like, we going, is she gonna be there? Or I was like, since she's tuning in virtually, I can do this from the crib. So let's keep it going. Thank you for your patience today. I told you that happens. Now I know how to switch over to, we gotta go lo-fi. We was going hi-fi, Wi-Fi, but here we go.
2 days since we did our last report at 100 days. So we know that Angelinos want to see progress. We want to talk about challenges we've had. We want to talk about solutions, and we want to talk about the way forward. We believe that the emergency obviously continues, but we do see a way forward. We know that pretty soon we will hear about the point-in-time count. And one concern that I have had and will continue to have is with the protections from COVID going away, an increase in people losing their housing, which is why we have been very aggressive in getting the word out that the city council passed tenant protections. So just to go through a few headlines. You know that Inside Safe has been one of our programs, one of the ways that we are addressing homelessness. And Inside Safe has been working well, and we've been clearing street encampments by housing people. But really, over these last few months, what you've seen from this office has been a pilot program. Now that we have a budget for a year, we can look back at Inside Safe at what we have learned, and we can move forward. We want Inside Safe to be citywide. Our goal would be to take it to scale so we could be clearing encampments and getting people housed at multiple council districts at the same time. We're not there yet, but at least with the passage of the budget, it will allow us to move forward in that direction. We're also seeing changes in vouchers, and that had been one of the commitments that I made coming into office, that we were going to, in a much better and bigger way, right, Doug? And we've been working on that. Yes. Use the vouchers that we've had. And the executive directive that I signed to cut red tape, you'll be hearing more about that. We're actually looking to institutionalize that beyond an executive directive. But that directive was to cut the red tape and significantly reduce the times on building and the cost of it. So we definitely have seen the benefits of locking arms, and we'll talk about that in terms of the historic agreement with the White House, cooperation from the state, and renewed cooperation between the city and the county. We have been discovering along the way out-of-date policies and bureaucratic practices that we have been able to put aside. And we are creatively working around several shortcomings, which you will hear about. But what's most important that I said at 100 days and continues to be true, that people do want to go inside. Over 1,300 people have moved inside with Inside Safe, and a very, very small number have been resistant. Encampments, people have been housed, and they have not been repopulated. Neighbors and businesses report an improved quality of life, and the first areas that we cleared were in December, and they continue to be cleared. And we do believe that throughout the city and the county family, that there is a renewed sense of urgency and focus. So a few of the things we found. One, we have a broken system, but we believe now that it's under repair. And fortunately, we have new leadership at LASA. We have found multiple weaknesses in the system, and in our work, we're trying to address that. You've heard me say all along that motels is what we're using on an emergency basis, but long-term, that is not sustainable. We have to come up with a permanent way of doing interim housing. The community-based organizations that we've been working with have done everything they can, but we have stretched them way beyond their capacity. Wraparound services are lacking, especially drug treatment, but we also have a remedy for that in the council budget. And data has been a real issue, and you'll see from this presentation that we're going to talk about numbers that are pretty dramatically different from 100 days. So at 100 days, we have discovered we did an undercount. We reported that 4,000 people were housed. It turns out that that number was really 8,000. And over the last 80 days, 6,000 more people have been housed. So that number is more accurately at 14,000. And we have all of our data people here who will explain to you what was and what we know is the case now. And so the reality is that the first 6 months, we would consider a pilot. And as I said, because we now have a budget, we can institutionalize what we have been doing for the last 6 months, and we're ready to do that. So what we want to do today, just like we did at 100 days, is to go through the good, bad, and ugly, let you know all that we have learned. And I want to introduce our partner, Dr. Valicia Adams-Kellum. I know you've been talking to her throughout, but at 100 days, she was a consultant with the mayor's office, and shortly after that, took over as the CEO of LASA. You also will remember that she is the one that created Inside Safe, and frankly, because of her leadership and her efforts to address the challenges at LASA, we have been cleaning up the data and can give you more accurate information. She's getting LASA on track, and I look.
So great. So she, that's a sister in that role, and we are so thankful for her work in that way. She is one of my sorority sisters as well. And again, I keep telling you, sisters are getting it done. So thank you for rocking and rolling with me today. We're tuning in from Los Angeles. So thank you. I want to keep answering your questions. So I did want to talk about her budget. I did a report on that as well. $1.3 billion, not for low-income families, not for families that are struggling, not COVID relief, $1.3 billion for homelessness. So, directly for homelessness, she's not playing around, and we're getting it done in every way possible. So, let's see. So I appreciate you all for tuning in and being here with me, and we're going through these stories, and I wanted to highlight every step of the way. I have so much more information to share because of the breaking news story that, y'all, we have had 4 city council members convicted, resigned for saying racist remarks on a hot mic or a secret microphone. And I want to update you all. So you're going to see a brother. So I want y'all to realize this is why Goldman Sachs is giving money to the sisters as mayors and in other areas of businesses and nonprofits, because come to find out they did give the Black community money. It's just that there was embezzlement, there was bribery and charges. So when they look up and say, why aren't these areas better? We have to turn to our elected officials and say, what happened to the money? And come to find out they were giving contracts to their friends. And for somebody like me as a small business owner, I have to ask why. Is how can I compete when they're doing under the table deals? And come to find out, I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you. You're going to see them, and then we'll get more into why this is such a disgrace. So share the video. Continue, give thumbs up so people in your area. How is this important to you? Why does this matter to people in other cities and states? Well, the U.S. Conference of Mayors, right after I did my interview, she flew over to Ohio. I believe she went to, it was either Cincinnati or Cleveland, but she went to Ohio for the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and she was made chair. So she's now a chairwoman. She's the chair, and other mayors are looking to her blueprint, a blueprint she also learned. And again, I want to remind you all that the top 4 major cities in the United States, New York, Los Angeles at number 2, number 3, Chicago, and number 4, Houston, Texas, okay? They are all talking, all the Black mayors are talking and sharing this blueprint. So this can affect your area. You can copy and paste. And to know, again, sisters are getting it done. But here I am reporting on the scene, wanting to let you all know that I'm right here. And actually, we're going to talk about it. She signed her first budget as mayor, and it's historic. She's getting money from HUD, is chipping in as well to give a lot of money to our amazing city. So I want to just let you know my report on that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we're going to keep the videos going, and then we're going to get into this reparations calculator, have some fun, play with it, and we will provide the link. Maybe you have some people in California that can play around with the reparations calculator. So thank you. And this video is also being simulcast on YouTube. So whether you listen live or later, I appreciate you all. All right, let's keep it going, and thank you for being here. I appreciate you all.
News you can use. I'm at City Hall just days after City Council approved Mayor Karen Bass's budget, bringing unprecedented funding to solving homelessness while ensuring a safer and more equitable Los Angeles for all. This morning, Mayor Bass signed her first budget, which includes an unprecedented $1.3 billion investment to address homelessness crisis. This is also including $250 million for Site, the new citywide program to bring unhoused Angelenos inside and in street encampments. She was joined by Council President Paul Krikorian, President Pro Tempore Curran Price, and Councilmember Bob Blumenfield, Chair of Budget, Finance, and Innovation Committee. Interestingly, all four served the California State Assembly together, with Blumenfield also serving as chair of the Budget Committee. Here's the mayor's remarks during today's signing.
Oh, okay, great. I wanted to, so we're going to get into her remarks as well. Before we get into that, so you'll see one of the people that also served with her in the state assembly is also a part of the budget signing. So great. Unfortunately, you know, we're gonna have to start really digging in. All right, if this person is embezzling funds, all right, I'll let you on the juice real quick. For his side piece, for his side woman that he ended up marrying, leaving his wife, who they were doing business together and looked like she was a part of the embezzlement as well. Somebody is squealing, and he's got two women. That's why I'm saying, like, we need honorable people, people that are compassionate, people that are kind, people that are fair. So you'll see him. We'll get into that.
For being here. Just last month, I stood in this room and said that the budget that was being presented was a reflection of our values and invest in the most critical needs of our city. I also said that I was confident that the relationship that we had built with the council, that we would have a collaborative process, and we would have today, where we come together united to sign the budget, and that we understand that building the city all Angelinos deserve needs to be built with urgency. There is a difference between spending and investing. This budget makes investments to bring people inside, in public safety, and in other areas that will net a return in terms of lives saved, in terms of the quality of life, and better neighborhoods, and that will save the city money in the long run. With 40,000 people unhoused in our city, and with the size of our police department possibly dropping to 2002 levels, we stand here today offering a real sustainable plan for change and a new direction for LA. I want to thank the leaders standing with me, President Krikorian and President Pro Tem Price, for your leadership of council to secure this unprecedented response to an unprecedented crisis. And to Chairman Blumenfield, this is a familiar feeling, you know, when I think of it, all of us, all four of us served in Sacramento and went through the Great Recession together. And I don't know about my colleagues, but for me, this was a little bit of PTSD. But it was wonderful to work with partners where we established a relationship many years ago and find ourselves working together again. We know that this time, however, was much different, fortunately. The significance and urgency is absolutely still there. And I want to thank the council leadership and members and staff for your thoughtful partnership in this process to help us arrive at a budget before us that will bring the urgency to the crisis we face. This budget charts a new course for a new Los Angeles, one that is stronger, happier, healthier, and safer. We will build more housing and create a permanent interim housing infrastructure to make it cheaper to bring the unhoused inside. We will scale up Inside Safe and take tents across the city down. We will hire more police officers and invest in nonviolent solutions to crime like grid, summer night lights. We're putting money in more firefighters to respond to emergencies faster. We will protect our environment, investing millions in everything from progress toward our emission goals and ensuring that we take full advantage of the recent rains. We will strengthen our infrastructure, putting the work in to make LA more walkable and accessible. And yes, we'll fill more potholes. Together we'll get this done. This is the new LA that we are building together.
Be sure to stay tuned to LBMediaGroup.com for continuous coverage of Mayor Bass as she joins forces with the state of California and the Biden-Harris administration to provide effective leadership during this urgent emergency humanitarian crisis.
Yeah, so the Biden-Harris administration is also getting involved. They really like this plan. They like this idea. It's running smoothly. we did have to give an update. There was some delays on how many people they're actually helping. So that happens. There was an undercount, and you know, some people were wanting to know why there was a delay, but the good thing is that it's getting done. So I wanted to show this. This is the brother that was embezzling funds for his side piece. And so, you know, y'all better be happy black women are in place and ready to go, because it's not looking too good. You know, we just had Mark Ridley Thomas. Now we have Councilmember Price. I can't call that honorable. And it's so interesting that it's a slogan above where they are standing that says, "Fidelity is the foundation of justice," or I believe that's what it said. It's a quote by Cicero there. And so I wanted to note that fidelity being the key word here. If you're faithful in the way you conduct business, you'll be faithful to your loved ones. You'll be faithful to your partners, people that trust you. So I wanted to start there just so y'all can see, and it's on my broadcast because I'm following this as well. And so unfortunately, this is some news that's happening. This is him.
Hey, well, first of all, let me start by thanking Mayor.
It's just really hard to continue on discussing this budget, because I always ask, where's the money for the small businesses? I always ask, what's in it for us? Is this money getting to our communities? And so you're supposed to disclose these things. People have to know some things you can do as long as there's disclosure, as long as you give some advance notice. So I hate that this person is here, a part of this historic budget, but it does call things into questions, and I don't want to have to go there yet, but we will, because now he's married to the side woman, and so not sure what's going on with that. And it seemed like with the first wife, they had a business going together as well. So sometimes when you mess over people and you mistreat people and disrespect people, and then they have your secrets and information, you got to tread lightly. This is a very important moment, and I hope more women get involved. We got to start, raising some eyebrows at this mayor. But he was put there. He was installed by his people, so we'll see how this is handled. I'm confident that the right thing will be done. We got to get this out the way. We cannot have embezzlement of funds, especially while we're having all this money coming in. People are investigating. We want a clean government. We want to do business the right way. So I want to let y'all know who that is, because we have situations where he is very close to this mayor. But I feel like as long as they're cleaning this up, it's just like, goodness gracious. Continue cleaning that up. I have a situation where I have him even with the mayor for Africa Day, and I think I might be onto something, that he kind of had this very much condemned look on his face. And I said, oh, why is he looking so sad? It seemed like something you should celebrate, and he didn't look like he was in a celebratory mood. We're live here, and he was at Africa Day with the mayor, and I was noticing, I was like, so I got some close-ups, and I was like, and then when I got back and reviewed my photos, I was thinking, he looks so condemned. Here he is again with the mayor at another occasion, celebrating Africa Day just maybe 2 weeks ago. We don't need people embezzling our Juneteenth funds. You dig? So, yeah, while we talking about reparations, we don't need, so here he is again with the mayor. So that was breaking yesterday. I didn't get into yesterday's story, but we're back. These are the only few black people really involved with city politics, city council, the mayor, and we really need, a fair and equitable Los Angeles. So I can't even really talk too much about him being a part of the budget without acknowledging where we are today. There they are, Africa Day. And I got some close-ups where he was just kind of looking very much condemned. And I was like, what's bugging him? And I was gonna get an interview with him, but I was just like, nah, I'm out. I'm good. No, I'm not. No, that's enough. So I want to talk about Juneteenth. You know, we're going from Trump, corruption, and now we're going to the White House. My goodness, this is so unfortunate. Because I want to talk about the Senate. There's so many other things, but that was like a huge deal. Unfortunately, if you're gonna have embezzlement and all these other issues, my goodness. And we got all this money coming in. We do need to clean that up. We do want the money to go to the right places. So, oh my goodness. All right. That's why I think they're going to have to make an example out of Trump, because they're going to have to make an example out of Trump, and because no one is above the law. That's what they're always saying. So there was a Juneteenth held at the White House, and the one of the women, her name is Opal, Mama Opal. She was very much involved with. There was a Juneteenth concert, and Mama Opal from Texas, who helped make sure that this can become a federal holiday, and she worked, and she was a community activist, and she marched, and she even when she marched by herself. So we're gonna get into it here. I just want to listen into this. This was happening yesterday. Happy Juneteenth to all, and we'll wrap up our broadcast here and get into some reparations calculations. Let y'all know how they're doing this.
Test what it means, because it is powerful. It has the potential to change California.
So here is Madam Vice President opening it up, and I really want to show the speech with from Mama Opal. She has some words, and it's just good to hear from the elders, people that have been fighting their whole lives for us to have what we have today. I am so appreciative that, you know, she lived to see the day in remembrance of her ancestors, so that's special. So we'll hear from the Vice President here and Mama Opal.
And to my Divine Nine family.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, everyone. So tonight, with joy, we gather with friends and generations of family members. We gather here at the White House, steps from where the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, to celebrate America's newest national holiday. And we are joined by so many incredible leaders, including members of Congress, members of the Congressional Black Caucus, and CBC Chair Stephen Horsford. And we are also here with so many leaders who brought us to this day, including the one and only Miss Opal Lee, the mother of Juneteenth. So when I served in the United States Senate, I was so proud to co-sponsor a bill to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. And as Vice President, it was my honor to stand beside our President, Joe Biden, as he signed the legislation that finally made that dream a reality. Indeed. And over the past 2 years, thanks to the leadership of President Joe Biden, and because of the support of all the leaders here, our nation has made incredible progress. We have created more than 13 million jobs and achieved record low Black unemployment. We have capped the cost of insulin for our seniors at $35 a month. so folks don't have to choose between paying for insulin or being able to buy groceries. With your support, we invested an historic nearly $7 billion into our HBCUs. In acknowledgement of the fact that they are centers of academic excellence. And to make sure our young leaders can succeed after they graduate, we will continue to fight for student debt relief. We've also been able to pass one of the most significant federal gun safety legislations in 30 years to help protect our communities from the horror of gun violence. And we will keep fighting to pass the assault weapons ban in the belief that all people have the right to be safe. In addition, since we took office, we have appointed more Black judges to the federal appellate bench than any administration in history. Yes, including the first Black woman to sit on the highest court in our land. Her name is Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. So thank you all, everyone here, for your support, and thank you for joining us tonight. This Monday, this upcoming Monday, Americans from all walks of life will again come together to celebrate Juneteenth, to honor Black excellence, culture, and community, to remember the full history of our nation, and to celebrate one of our nation's founding principles, the principle of freedom. On Juneteenth, we remember that
I'm here with y'all.
In the Confederacy, hundreds of thousands of Americans in Texas were kept in servitude for 2 more years. Then, on June 19th, 1865, Union troops arrived in Galveston to enforce emancipation, and the enslaved people of Texas claimed the freedom that was theirs by birth and by right. And as we celebrate, we also remember that it would be 6 months more before the 13th Amendment was ratified and all enslaved people in America were declared free. America is a promise of freedom, liberty, and justice. The story of Juneteenth, as we celebrate it, is the story of our ongoing fight to realize that promise, not for some, but for all. On Juneteenth, we are also reminded of the duality of progress. As we fight to move forward to expand freedom, we must also fight to protect the freedoms already won. And as we know, we can take nothing for granted in that regard. For example, let us look at the sacred freedom to vote, the freedom that generations fought, bled, and died to secure. The freedom that is under assault in states across our nation. And the freedom that we must defend by passing the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. At the same time, we continue to fight to restore the freedom and the right of every woman in every state to make decisions about her own body. And we fight to make sure that all Americans have the freedom to learn our country's history in full, because while we celebrate a holiday dedicated to teaching and honoring America's full history, extremists across our country attempt to ban books and erase our past. And on this point, let us be very clear. Black history is American history. So in conclusion, as we gather tonight, let us remember the words of the great Coretta Scott King. She said, "The fight for civil rights must be fought and won with each generation." She reminds us that our freedoms will not be permanent unless we, in each generation, are vigilant to protect them. So let us stand together as Americans to teach and honor our history, to protect our liberty, and to continue the fight for freedom. And with that, I have now the honor, I don't know if she knows, but I have asked Ms. Opal Lee to join me on this stage so we can thank her with applause. There she is. Can we please stand and applaud Ms. Opal Lee?
Hello, young people. And no, you are all not young people if you're not 96. Please, could I just say this to you young folk? Make yourself a committee of one to change somebody's mind. If people can be taught to hate, they can be taught to love. And it's up to you to do it. We are the most powerful country in the whole United States. And we must get together and get rid of the disparities, the joblessness and homelessness and health care that some people can get and others can't, and climate change that we are responsible for. And if we don't do something about it, we're all going to hell in a handbasket.
And with that, And with that, I thank you, Ms. Opal Lee, for your years of advocacy, leadership, and truth-telling. Happy Juneteenth to everyone. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Oh my gosh, my soror, she is hilarious. Oh goodness, I enjoyed that. That was great. I did want, well, happy Juneteenth to you all. I hope that you all are enjoying or planning to enjoy. She's like, and while I got your attention, let me read y'all's rights. I love that. I love it. Oh, our elders, so good to hear from our elders. They can say whatever. She can say at 96. That's how I'm gonna be at 96. That's how I'm gonna be at 96. Y'all can't tell me nothing. Not that I got to 96 and y'all gonna be, no, we're not doing that. But yes, Mother Opal Lee, I'm just, giving y'all some information here. And I just want to know, a lot of times, people that are arguing with y'all about Juneteenth and what we shouldn't get, they are new. They don't even have any documents or records in the 1860s. This is for people that's, this is 1860s work. So if you didn't have any ancestors here in the 1860s, you might not qualify for these conversations and discussions. If we could just limit it to those people and you could tell us where your ancestors were in 1860, we'll leave it at that. So, Madam Vice President, She also hosted a roundtable discussion for men of color and talking about their businesses. So I wanted to share that as well. And she had some opening remarks there. This was a few weeks ago. It's been a while since I've been able to do a broadcast. So we'll shoot over to this clip as well. Great.
Good afternoon to everyone here. I want to start by thanking each of you business leaders for joining us for this afternoon's discussion at the White House. We have asked you to join us in this discussion because you are truly leaders, not only in the place where you live and work, but you are national leaders. And it is through the benefit of a discussion with you where we are going to listen more than we talk, that we will get feedback and perspective on how the work that we are doing is helping our small business leaders, our entrepreneurs, to grow. We fully understand that when our entrepreneurs and our small business leaders are strong, America is strong. Because what you do is the work that is, yes, about innovation. It is the work that is spurred by creativity. It is the work we always want to encourage that is about aspiration and ambition. And it is the work that really is the undergird of the economy of the United States of America. Small businesses and small business owners, then, represent half of America's workforce. Half of America's private workforce works for or runs a small business. And when I think about our small business leaders and each of you, I know who you are. You are not only leaders in business, leaders in innovation, entrepreneurs, but you are also civic leaders. You are community leaders. You are role models. You hire locally, you mentor, and you inspire. So when we think about the work that we must do, for me as Vice President of the United States, for us as an administration, it is about continuously focusing on what we can do to strengthen our nation. And that means strengthening and supporting the work that each of you has accomplished that brings us to this conversation today and the work yet to be done moving forward. At this table, we have entrepreneurs, small business owners who are working in the area of space, technology, addressing the climate crisis and understanding the opportunities that exist there in terms of growing a clean energy economy and growing a workforce that has the skills and the ability to lead where we can be unburdened.
Okay, great. I was just showing that I want to continue playing that speech. Um, it's a really good speech, so sorry I had to interrupt it there. But she's speaking. This is the Madam Vice President speaking to businessmen of color. All right, great. And we're still rolling here. And I just want to add that I know for a fact that Kansas City sent a young black man, business entrepreneur, to represent for Kansas City. So listen up. This could be some local news for your area.
Support you. For example, when I was a United States Senator, I worked with some of the senators who were there at the time, and we got an additional $12 billion to go into our community banks, community lenders, CDFIs. Understanding that financial institutions that are rooted in and run by folks who understand the community are best situated to understand the capacity of the community, the needs of the community, the mores of the community, and then to understand how to appropriately invest in the potential and the growth of a community. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, which is what can we do to strengthen the work that we have been doing with community banks in a way that it assists you to continue to grow. We're going to talk about the realities for any small business, including in particular small businesses owned by people of color, Black people, Latinos, Asians, others, in terms of some of the challenges that exist for anyone, but are of a particular concern for our small business owners who are people of color, which is access to capital, access to markets, access to consumers. Access. And what can we do to facilitate and better improve access so that you can then be out there to compete? Because if your product's good, you will be able to do that, but access to resources shouldn't be the obstacle between you being able to have what is necessary to compete in a fair way or not. To that extent, yes, we do talk about equity. We actually believe it is a good principle, in spite what some so-called leaders might try to suggest. We are proud of the fact that equity is one of our guiding principles. Proud of the fact that we understand equality is important, but not everybody starts out on the same base. So it sounds like it might be right, everyone gets an equal share and then they should compete and the best thing will win, but that assumes everyone starts out on the same base. Equity takes into account that may not be the case, but we want to give everyone an equal opportunity to compete and to not only survive, but thrive. So these are some of the guiding principles behind us coming together today. But most importantly, we are here today to recognize your excellence and to hold that up as models of who we are as a nation and what we can do to continue to grow not only our economy, but our capacity and strength as it relates to so many issues. So again, I thank the leaders for taking the time out of your busy schedules, for so many of you for traveling.
Taking time out of my busy schedule to let y'all know. So when people are complaining, oh, Goldman Sachs is giving Black women money, but not, they also have programs for Black men too. And come to find out, most people don't even know about Goldman Sachs, which one day, sometime this week, I need to get into their report. They're saying a recession is not likely. And I'm like, yes, it is. Why are you lying to these people? So thank you. And so again, going back to my interview with the mayor, we pointed out that Barbara Lee is her go-to choice candidate and option for the U.S. Senate. She gave an early support. So I want y'all to know a little bit more about her, and we'll talk about things as it really kicks off with that campaign. So we're back. Thank you to those that are still here. So there is no Black woman serving in the U.S. Senate across all 50 states, not a single senator. We got a Black man with Raphael Warnock. We have a Black man with a Cory Booker, but we don't have a Black woman as the U.S. And we do want some representation. California, we've had white women, so why not Black women? The U.S. Senate is extremely important. We need somebody voting with our interests, and I'm just so happy once again to be in the great state of California through the city of Los Angeles. And Mayor Bass here has an endorsement of Barbara Lee. You'll get to know a little bit more about her, but a lot of good energy, and we're just kind of really getting started here. So U.S. Representative Barbara Lee near the areas of Oakland, Northern California, with State Controller Malia Cohen, who is, our basically state accountant. And so all these sisters are working together, getting it done. This is something that, I know people are so used to Black women getting it done, and we're the world's superheroes. But this is really pretty astounding and amazing to watch. So thank you for being here, and we'll shoot right over to this great video.
Hello, Democrats. Are there some Democrats in this house? Where are the Democrats in this house? All right, it is wonderful. No, because I gotta wait for her. And from all of you from out of town, welcome to Los Angeles. And I want to welcome our controller, although Malia Cohen is here all the time, so she is an Angelino. Thank you. And I am proud to say that she is our state controller. That means she got the money and signs the checks. But we are very proud of the way that she is representing our state. Aren't we? Give her a round of applause for acknowledging all of the sister friends in here. Let me just say congratulations to all of the elected officials. I have met elected officials from all over the state, and for all of the Democratic Party leaders, welcome and thank you for the work that you do, keeping California blue. No doubt about California. Let me just say, there is a small giant in this room. You might not even be able to see her because she's a little on the petite side. But she is a powerful woman, and we have this saying in Congress, and we have this saying in the Bay Area, that somebody speaks for me. Do you know who I'm talking about? Who speaks for you? Well, let me just tell you, I was happy to be home and elected as mayor. But one of the things I miss about Congress are my dear, dear friends and mentors and the people who guided me over 12 years so I didn't step in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's easy to step in it. But let me just say that my friend, Barbara Lee, speaks for me. We traveled the world together. We spent time in Africa. But one thing about this woman here is that the conscience of the Congress, the conscience of the Democratic Party, rests with her, which is why we all say, what? Barbara Lee speaks for me! Oh, Madam Mayor, my friend, first of all, thank you for that spirited introduction, but let me just say, I miss you so much, and I'm so happy for you here in Los Angeles to have Mayor Karen Bass home, and she is doing such a phenomenal job on so many issues. And when she was in Congress, you know, she has a way of bringing the world together, has a way of unifying people. And I had a chance to work with her on so many issues, both abroad and on domestic policy. But Karen, I just wanted to say, to know that the foster care conference, the foster kids caucus, they're going to be back in Washington. They're going to be shadowing us. There was no one in Washington who took on the issues of foster children but Karen Bass. And that's the mark she has left now, every year now. And the legislation, the appropriations request, everything that she has done is withstanding the test of time. So thank you so much, Mayor Bass. But I'm glad you're home, and thank you for your support. United States Senate. And I think the Senate needs a perspective and a voice that's not there, right? And so I just wanted to say thank you all of you who can support me. I appreciate you're raising money, you're getting volunteers. This is a grassroots campaign, and like Mayor Bass, 9 million to 100 million, Barbara Lee's going to win this U.S. Senate seat with people, with power, and with making sure that we have the resources we need to do what we need to do to win our campaign the way we know we can win it. So thank you for giving us a chance to be with you today.
So I think I'll get more into who she is as time progresses, and I will definitely, keep, supporting her efforts as long as, Okay, great. So as long as things are progressing for her, we'll get involved. So thank you. We've been making it through. I'm the control room. I'm the anchor. I'm the producer. I'm the editor. Look, all of these things just to bring you the news. And I want to do it live and watch some of these videos with you all. We got a lot done today, and so I'm happy with that. We were able to check in with the White House for Juneteenth. Hopefully you check what's going on in your local area for Juneteenth as well. Hopefully you all go out there and have a great time with your family. Really take some time to understand the significance and the importance of the holiday. Thank you so much for tuning in. I got a lot of other stories going on. Like the breaking news are happening, and those that are guilty and thought that they could hide things, we are that's whatever they'll do with that, but get out the way so real, true, effective leadership can do what they need to do, and it's untainted, and they don't have to call anything back and roll back these programs. So stay clean. I love that quote, fidelity is the foundation of justice. So you can't be doing things over here and then mistreating over here and abusing power and influence over here. That is a big deal. It's just now hitting me how big that is, because when we can't get our, companies money and funded through sales and contracts with the city and government, it's because people are paying people under the table. And we know it's happening widespread, but call it out. The whistleblowers, however this is getting done. Thank you. Just trying to keep the broadcast going here. And, I appreciate you all. So sometimes we go between high Wi-Fi and lo-fi. So essentially, I've been working my way through this city. Entertainment is just not working for me because it's fake. But this type of information and data and investigative journalism, whoa, whoever did that, broke that, whoa. But it's happening. Entertainment, that's not really going to put food on the table, is it? That's not going to help families get off the streets and get healthy and really get back involved with and being productive members of society. So essentially, the reparations calculator, we don't want to miss that. So I'm gonna share the link later. I'm gonna put it here. Let's play around with it a little bit. Let's play around with the reparations calculator, just so you can kind of see how they are. I want to show you how they're doing the reparations calculator. All right, so the different categories and how they divide this up. All right, so there's a website called Cal Matters, and I'll try to share the link as, I'm promoting this. From the great state of California, they came up with a system. How much money could the state of California owe per black resident that qualifies for reparations? So a lot of people want to figure that out. So let's go into it. How much for the California reparations calculator? Great question. And maybe this would be implemented in your city and state as well. Hopefully. So for us, I've been sending people the article. Some people have been playing around with it. How much does a state panel say that you could be owed? How much am I owed? So this is how we work it out. Reparations in the great state of California. All right, we're still here. So let's play around with it a little bit, shall we? All right, how much reparations? So let's get into the methodology here. How did they figure this out? How much reparations are African Americans, misnomer, all these different changes we've been through, whatever we are called as of today, how much reparations are Black American residents owed? The California Reparations Task Force recommends the state consider down payments. These are only down payments. Down payments to eligible Black Americans, misnomered as African American residents, although the task force has not indicated how much it will recommend to the legislature as an overall price tag for reparations. It did, however, identify ways to calculate how much African Americans in California are owed. So, and remember, we're talking about repairing something that was broken, right? So think about this. If something was taken, injury, harm done, there were lives lost for these silly acts of heinous crimes of terrorism. So think about this. The calculator is about how much Black Americans, African Americans in California have lost due to systemic racism in the state. This calculator uses criteria from the task force to determine the loss and the cost to every individual African American in California. Okay, so what we're gonna note here is that, let's see, what we're gonna note here is that there were harms about health care, there were harms about over-policing, problems with the police department, housing discrimination. I listed so many things at the top of the broadcast in my report, even our businesses being devalued. There has to be some form of reparations for that as well. And then just unjust property takings like we saw with Bruce's Beach and eminent domain. So let's get into the calculator. How does it work here? All right, say for example, the first year you ever moved to California was 1950. Let's say your family moved here. Great. Okay, so you see here health harms. You see here mass incarceration over policing. Here you see housing discrimination. Here you see the devaluation of businesses. And you also see unjust property takings, okay? And then right here they're showing you the potential amount owed, and you can go right here and the numbers will change. All right, so it says that person is owed 1.3. So maybe we want to update it to 2023. A lot of people that are playing around with this calculator, it stops at 2020 as you can see, but maybe you want to do 2023 because it's already got the, okay, they still keeping it around, so we'll keep it at 2020. I've been noticing some difference in my numbers. All right, let's say you got here and you only been here maybe a decade. Maybe you moved here in 2010. Maybe you've only been here 10 years. As you can see, that's maybe not a millionaire, but 270,000. See how the calculation works? So they come over here now. Notice, how did they come up with that? All right, in just a decade, they did 10 years, 10 years, 10 years. Okay, that's how long this person's been here. This scenario. So they got here about a decade, all right, living in California, you know, being productive member of society. For health harms, $13,000 payout. Mass incarceration, $2,352. Look at these numbers. For housing discrimination, they're saying, I don't know how they did that for 10 years. Because if you don't have, that's such a low amount. And look how they're noticing this is all going back to 1850. 1850. Nah, let's put in 1850 with this calculation. Okay. So $2 million. So if you said I survived from 1850 to 2020, like I don't know, maybe they had some black magic, some black melanin magic. I've been violation. That's not enough. But look, not that you live to be 170 years old and the bulk of your money. This can't be right. They mean 2 trillion. They mean 2 billion. 2 million. Now I survived 170 years. Damn. Can we put some inflation on this? What's going on here? But as you can see, I'll share the link. Okay, dang. Not they calculate from 1850 to 22. You lived 170 years. Dang, what if we got you here in 1776? What if you were just chilling in indigenous California? Oh, shit. Nah, I guess there's a cutoff point. They ain't really trying to go back to 1850. They said, no, you cannot go back to 17. I don't like these numbers, but they got it. Look, y'all, this is just a few categories, okay? These are just a few categories here, okay? So after 2 years of studying the effects of slavery and modern-day racism, the State Task Force for California is using this state to repair the long-term damage African Americans have suffered. People sue every day for pain and suffering. So all of a sudden, nope, they don't get to sit down, Jim Crow. Ain't nobody talking to you no more. My gosh, my goodness. Let's take it back to, okay, I'm gonna say 2011, 2023. I'm gonna put in my own numbers. About that much, okay? All right. So there can be, if 2020 is the cutoff for all the people that left the state, nah, I endured 3 years beyond. So, but as you can see, there's criteria, there's calculations, as you can see with the reparations calculator. Reparations calculator. How much does this state panel say that you're owed? Somebody's working on how to crunch the numbers, how to figure this out. This is a lawsuit. Nobody that's not a part of the lawsuit should have any say so. They don't get to say anything. California is moving forward. So amazing, so great. Congratulations. If you got one ancestor that you can claim was on this continent from 1850, that's look like this is part of the qualifications. That's how you get that done. Do you understand? These are the reparations calculations, okay? That's how they're doing that there. So we did it. We did so much work. That was a great way to kind of wrap up things here. And I'm so happy we could do this broadcast. And even throughout some technical difficulties, a few hiccups, we were able to keep the broadcast going. So thank you so much for tuning in. Continue coverage going. I'm trying to do these broadcasts more often, but as you can see, there's some issues sometimes. So I just have to roll with the punches. I appreciate you all. Thank you. All right. So any questions, please feel free to comment. You can hit me in the DM. You can comment live, whether you listen live or later. Go ahead. Drop a comment anyway. Great. Thank you so much. Yes. All right. I just want to make sure I got. All right. Well, thank you. You guys have been so awesome to, you know, and like I said, I like to continue the conversations on Fanbase. I try to go to other like Twitter spaces. I love it. This is simulcasting live on YouTube as well. And thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week. Get into Juneteenth. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Turn on notifications for when I go live. Thank you. And until next time, that has been a great broadcast. Hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing this. Make sure you keep in touch. Until next time, take care and give love. Thank you.